Problem is we don't know the name.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do need the name.
Yeah.
This is how I named Venn, by the way. Just a little pressure situation. Entire rest of my life.
Cafe
I need a name,
construction.
Cal. What's the name?
Coffee walks.
I think it's just a coffee walk. I think you just call it coffee walk. Oh, good morning. I'm Nick Veldman with Venn Construction. This is Coffee Walks. The situation is about, I guess, getting out of your comfort zone, and you got to say something like give the people what they want. This really is my favorite time of the day. Always has been.
Yeah.
Especially in Arizona.
Why?
The weather, it's quiet. Growing up in a small town, it was always, I really appreciate the quiet. And construction is such a busy, hectic world that it's nice when things are still for a minute. And so I've just always gravitated towards the earlier moments of the day and just really, really enjoy it. Plus, I don't know that you can see a better sunrise than you can in Arizona. That's not coming up over an ocean. Today we're headed down to Advanced Plastic Surgery Center, also referred to as Platinum Surgery Center, which is a 20,000 square foot ground up plastic surgery center that we're constructing for a prominent doc in Gilbert, Arizona. Headed down to see our lead superintendent, Brett Stevens. Brett has been with us for, I believe, 6 years. I like to walk the jobs every month at a minimum, try to go every other week in order to check progress, make sure that things are progressing the way that we want to see them, answer any questions, make sure that our field staff has what they need, make sure that we can see any potential challenges coming down the road, coordination issues, and also, I just kind of like it. I really enjoy construction. I always have. I love walking the job, specifically in the morning. I like to sneak out of the office and go walk a job with the guys and talk to them about what's happening, see some friends in the subcontractor world, and reconnect and walk the job. One of the things that's really important at Venn is making sure that we're constantly learning, training, mentoring, doing all the things that we need to do for our teams to be able to progress, for the individuals within our company to get better every day, myself included. I always learn quite a bit when we walk the jobs, understand construction technology, and the way that guys are doing things changes. The way that we sequence things from time to time is different than it has been in the past. We're dealing with supply chain issues, we're dealing with labor shortages, and the way that guys are handling these challenges is really kind of amazing, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to work through challenges. It's one of those things that we get to do each and every day. The world is always changing, specifically in construction, and it's a lot of work to manage and to control the chaos, as we call it. And it's fun to work with the field teams in order to really dig into that and solve problems. All right, so you want me to talk a little more about the job?
Yeah, tell us about the job. What's Advanced Plastic Surgery?
Advanced Plastic Surgery is a 20,000 square foot surgery center, consists of multiple different parts within the building. One of the sections on the first floor has 2 operating rooms where the doctor is going to be performing surgery. There's a clinic space also on the first floor. There's some area on level 2 for office and clerical needs. The project right now has been, the superstructure has been erected. The building is on its way towards dry-in, and we're working on the TI on the interior. Site work should be getting started. That's one of the main reasons I want to go down there today, is to check the progress on some of the exterior enclosure pieces, see how the TI is progressing along, and make sure that there's no tripping hazards for Brett and the team on coordinating the site work. So job is scheduled to be completed this summer. We've had some really good progress over the last couple of months, specifically through the holidays. And now as we transition into the tenant interiors part of the job, the site should be buzzing. There's been a decent amount of activity, obviously, but specifically once we transition into the TI portion of the project, the amount of tradesmen on site really seems to ramp up. And it's kind of the fun time in the job when we transition on coming out of the ground and start focusing on buttoning it up and heading to the finish line for the doctor and his team.
Yeah. Don't hesitate to call me.
You got it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
What are we?
Hello, Brett. It's kind of The Office, but then.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
Oh, the office, but vent.
Like The Office, but men. That's exactly
Okay.
right.
Less funny, more
We need
business.
the song playing in the background.
There will be a song.
James Dean, could we take a minute and get the key for the
Yeah.
forklift?
Okay, he's like, all right, ready to go?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my shades just in case.
Your future's bright.
Future's bright.
Is that it for the framing out there?
In that section, that's the pop out,
Yeah.
EFIS pop out. There's another hanging pop out here on this this side, so where those arched windows are. And then there's another hanging pop out on the north side, another hanging pop out on the south side, and then you mirror that on the east elevation.
Okay. And nothing comes out from the center, right? Isn't there like a porte-cochere or something that comes out?
No,
from the center?
that's it. So it gets that awning
Yeah.
with a standing seam, and then glass door front.
Okay.
Double door glass door front. I think that's 24 feet.
Well, yeah, but we've got the beam in the center, right?
We took it out.
Okay.
We got that approved through structural. He was like, the only reason I threw it in was to support the glass, but if your glass doesn't need the support, then we're good.
And it doesn't.
No.
And it's not curtain wall, it's still storefront.
Correct.
And then there's spandrel at the floor to floor, right?
Correct.
And the ductwork?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a minor, well, I shouldn't say minor, but there was some rework on the height of the spandrel versus the interior ceiling height.
Right.
We had to kind of go back to the drawing board with the architect and determine where that spandrel was going to hit versus the interior ceiling height. And ultimately, the spandrel on the outside was a touch higher than the finished ceiling on the inside. So you end up with a weird detail. If you're looking at it, you see grid or exposed framing if you're looking at it from the outside, if we don't create some sort of pocket or soffit.
And then
So-
we're still waiting on the radius frames. That's the last piece of glass, right? Like that's
So yeah, so they should be showing up here. They're telling me any day they should be showing up. They're setting all the vertical pieces.
Hi, Rich.
And then
Good, man.
that last piece, which is just the radius, will come in. That's all they're
So
waiting for.
they're going to build 3 sides and then they're going to just come in and set the radius piece?
Correct.
Because that's it to get you like essentially dry on the exterior, right?
Yeah. That
What about these storefront pieces and this little piece here?
so that all should be coming in the same package. So they should build that over the next few weeks. The other big thing we have happening is the roofing.
Right now?
So they're flying up material today, and they should be starting. Monday.
I need you for a few minutes. How are you?
Good,
Okay.
man. You got to give him like 30. Is that cool? You got to go right now. You can. That's fine. Go ahead.
Huh?
Give you-
What?
So we only need to run about a 1 foot rip of drywall to be able to get above the finished ceiling, right? So that 1 foot rip, the top of that 1 foot rip, he'll have access above there for that unit.
Okay. Entiende? You understand?
Comprende.
Comprende?
This is 10 foot, right?
No, that's 9-6.
I got you. Okay. All right, that'll work.
Okay, so roofing now, because all of this is technically at risk for getting wet, right?
Yeah.
Did
That's
you
a risk.
did you get wet over the weekend?
Yeah. So we'll test it. We've already gone through yesterday. We had a dry day. So we went through and pulled out the wet insulation. We still have some areas that we got to patch back some insulation and drywall. But we go through as needed and just double check and make sure that we're not still holding moisture.
So this is what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's on the east side.
Okay.
So that's
It's like I knew I remembered that was
that's
there
their
somewhere.
Patient discharge.
Got it. So run me through overhead. You guys are getting close, looks like, right?
Yeah, we're getting real close. So I would say 99% of the ductwork's up. They're throwing on some trunk runs just to get down to grid ceiling. But yeah, otherwise we've got some plumbing overhead we're wrapping up, electrical overhead we're wrapping up, all the MP&E is taking place.
This just trims out with drywall, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens at these kind of areas here?
So those will get end caps. I was actually looking at a few of those details with the architect yesterday on our site walk. There's a few areas that dimensionally they don't lay out quite like he wanted to, but we're going to do a few things, few details to ensure that we don't end up with a funky, weird detail or whatever, and make sure that each room is soundproof as well. So all of our walls are basically ready for inspection. We will be one-siding here the next few days, and the goal would be to get everything one-sided, have our inspector through. He actually technically won't come out until the roof is dried in, because if he shows that he's approved us for in-wall inspection with an exposed roof, technically they won't allow us to do an in-wall. So with the roofer starting Monday and us having 3-4 days of one side, that should get us to a point where we can show him on this side that we've got the roofer here. We're almost dried in. The roofer's moved to that south side by that time, and we can start insulate and closing up this side.
Because we talked about that last week, and so that puts you a few days off of what we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Because of the roofer?
Right.
You think you're going to make up for it with the drywaller or what?
So I think we'll make up with the drywaller and the tape and finish. And what we'll probably do, what we like to do, is phase it. So we'll get them in here and bang this side out as we're drywalling and second siding that side, as well as tape and finishing. And so we have a full crew of tapers on this side. Once we finish with second side on that side, then they flip-flop over.
Yeah.
And it technically doesn't show us 100% complete with that one discipline, but at least it shows us that we're started and we're working our way through.
So the other challenge you're going to have is the mud drying, right? I mean, because you're not going to have ACs on.
No.
And the temperature right now, you're going to need a lot of fans and whatever else we can do to move air through here, because the mud's not going to dry.
Yeah. And the goal at that point, obviously, would be to have these
windows
the windows in.
Yeah.
We're dried in on the roof, so at least we can kind of have some sort of acclimation.
All right, Skywalker, talk me through your plan out here.
So this is always a fun, kind of exciting few days that we have when we get this big machinery out here. What they're doing basically is balancing the site.
Yeah.
So they'll get this grade down to subgrade, which will be ready for curb and gutter, flat work, and any other site work that we need to accomplish. And what that'll allow us to do is to get the lot ready for paving. And that's a big deal for us to get to be ready for paving, to turn the space over when the building is paved and all that is a big deal. Because it's my understanding that brick veneer is direct applied to CMU.
Oh, you might be right.
So if it's direct applied, like for this pop out, for instance,
Yeah.
this is brick veneer. Then you have bits and pieces that are stucco. But if the brick veneer guy is here, then the stucco guy doesn't necessarily need to be here.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on where we're
They're going to want
at.
to use a scaffold, don't you think, not a lift?
Yeah, scaffold
brick?
probably. Yeah.
So then it's going to take away. It's going to be a complicated thing, right? So this is where your drop off is? Where's your drop off?
The discharge, patient discharge right here. Discharge.
So you've got some footers then that come out, and then there's like a porte-cochere.
Yeah, so where these embed plates are,
Footers out here?
yeah, it'll come out about 24 feet, which would be kind of somewhere in this ballpark. 2 columns with an overhead structure, steel decking, all that. So the cars will actually be able to pull in and pull through. Yeah. This is our private PACU, so this will get a glass breakaway door.
Yep.
From Arcadia. Again, you have PACU, 3 bays here, 3 PACU bays here, pre-op bays here, 1, 2, and 3. These all get curtains to keep them divided in privacy. Nurses station here in the middle, so they'll be able to view obviously both pre-op and PACU.
Auto doors, right? So have you gone over with these guys the head height requirement they need above the frame, just to double check it?
But I will.
And then electrical rough to it, right? I mean, your Sparky's not through the space yet, but we've had challenges on the last couple of deals with the way that the auto door and the head height required at the frame. Yeah. It's actually required this to be a 4 or 6 inch header, or you got to bury it in the wall. Right. There's something new with the way that they're manufacturing these, and then we're not catching it. So double check that.
The other thing that we talked about on our walk was nurse call. So we've got all their back boxes headed this way. Our electrician will set those, obviously, and do all the raceway for the nurse call. But we'll get all those set here in the next few days. So you guys did a box walk in here yesterday, huh? We did a box walk in here yesterday. So we laid out the light boom, the boom light where that center point will sit.
Oh, that's why your job's so clean.
Yeah, yeah. Not because I've got a videographer through, but because the doctor walked through, and the boss. But yeah, so we laid out TV monitors, X-ray monitor, TV monitor. So there's actually a few locations that we deleted this location. He has it shown there. There's another location here, but he wants to move it to here. And basically what we did is we had him just stand in the space and figure out where.
Bananas that he's got windows in here, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty unorthodox in comparison to all the other ones that we do. There's never windows in ours. In fact, in the ones that we have windows, we black them out. Yeah. So this is all clean hallway or back of house hallway. We've got our clean and dirty room here. Pass-through window, which will act as a kind of a highway to pass the clean and dirty stuff from one side to the next. They've also got a pass-through sterilizer, which will sit in that opening, which just takes a lot of coordination because we've got like roof, floor drains and all that to make sure that we've got them in the perfect spot. Yeah, power. All the rough in. Med gas. I had them throw those on there just for you. They always, what they do is at the end of the day, they have their valve shut, which puts the handle to the outside and it doesn't allow that paper to sit flush. And I'm like, guys, we've got to figure out a better way. Because I'm coming? Yeah. Well, it reminded me because I was like, guys, we got to do it better. Because the other day it was open because they had a valve open or they had a valve closed, which leaves the handle out. I'm like, guys, we got to figure out a better way. Because at the end of the day, like today, they're doing 410s. So on Fridays, then it's just left wide open.
And they're supposed to have these covers on them, and yeah, they're a little primitive, but they work. And it's like my frickin' pet peeve that every time we'll be walking through and like this will be up, it'll be taped over here because they're working on it. Then they go to lunch, they go somewhere else, and the cover doesn't get back on.
Well, and then this valve will sit closed because they're testing and whatever, and then they can't
close it.
Close it.
So when Brett was doing his very first surgery center, I was like, cover the damn valves. It's like every day I'd walk through, like, cover the valves.
I'm just shaking in my boot. Yeah, so it's kind of a patio breezeway, if you want to call it that. So this masonry will actually continue up another 4 or 5 feet, and these sections of brick will actually continue over in an arch.
Yep.
So this whole thing, if you're looking from north to south, it'll be an archway all the way.
And this all gets wrapped in that stone.
Correct.
Yeah. You know what? You might be right. Maybe it is direct applied now that I'm thinking about it. I thought we had a furring detail that goes behind it, so we'd need to use the scaffold on both sides, but it may be separate.
So if that's the case, if it's totally separate, then this whole south side pop out is only the stone veneer guy.
Right.
Right? So the ephes guy is not going to need. The other unique thing about this south side is we had a ton of overhead space to run all our MP&E.
Here,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So it was kind of a luxury that we don't often get. And very,
It's nice, right?
yeah, very contrary to this side where we had ductwork that actually was sitting very close to finished ceiling. We threw all this backing in for our handrail. We did the same thing here. This all shows 3 and 5 for out, but then
Yeah,
it would
can't
have.
have it. There's nothing in it though, right? So who cares?
Yeah. Well, actually, that section there. So we left that section because we have rough-in from beyond the stair. So we actually.
So that's
did
going to create a little
job.
pop out?
Yeah.
All right.
So this enters us into the coffee bar area.
Here, right?
Elevator there, elevator entrance.
Here. It's on site?
Yeah, the coffee bar area is here.
No, the elevator is here.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah,
the
it's
elevator's
it's
here.
physically on
yeah,
site?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's in the Connex. Now, Robert put a lock on it that we don't know the code to, so I got to cut the lock.
That's a better solution than not having
But
the elevator.
I'd rather it be locked out and nobody could get into it, because then we know it's not going anywhere, right? So this all gets glass handrail here on this leading edge. This is actually kind of an interesting detail because this is cantilevered out. There's no support under that
Oh, yeah.
that leading edge. So it it created a. We definitely questioned it with the structural engineer, and he was like, "No, I've done all the calculations.
So
It
you
holds."
need a kick plate here.
Yeah.
Have them shoot down a piece of track.
Okay.
You need a kick plate here for safety.
Gotcha.
Actually, everywhere, Brett.
Yeah. Okay. We actually had, so we relocated our roof hatch. It was shown to go here with 2 walls and access through to the stair pan.
You put it in here? Where is it?
What?
Where are you going to put it?
So we actually moved the location into the future storage room. So they utilized the future floor plan, and we picked a spot that worked with the HVAC curbs. So it'll sit right here.
That's a storage room? So we just ship ladder or what?
It'll be a standard steel ladder. So I've actually got deck inspection, our final deck inspection here today at 9 o'clock. So he's gonna, yeah, yeah, he's gonna give us the, hopefully give us the okay to move forward.
Any reason why not?
No, there was a few deficiencies on our last couple walks. So they went through the south side. He already gave us the go ahead on the south side, but the deckers weren't quite all the way complete on this north side. So when he came out and inspected it, it was a little premature. So
Let's just get east.
yeah. So all this exposed plywood that you see will all get stucco. The other thing we had to do was that midsection there between the roof drains is going to be our cricket, so I had to have HVAC raise up all those exhaust fans.
Right.
Because at the highest point, he'll be 12 inches up above deck.
Good shot of Mercy Gilbert from here.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So roofer's dropping his material when? Now?
So he started yesterday. He told me he'd be back again today to keep flying up. That's all their material sitting over there in the yard, taking up a whole bunch of space.
Oh, yeah.
So they should be flying up the rest of that material today, and then we should be starting on Monday. So I'm gonna keep them on this north side just because we're a little more complete on this north side, and then just work everything to the south.
Assuming you pass your deck inspection today.
Assuming we pass our deck.
So did you, but if not, don't hold them back, right? Just start them on the south?
Yeah.
Did they give you a duration?
10 days, 10 to 12 working days. We're mid-March for our SES.
Yeah.
So in theory, once we start SRP here, oh, there's Joe, my inspector. Once we start